Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Justice League Dark Tomorrow Special Issue 1 by Mark Guggenheim, Mark Waid, Cian Tormey and Romulo Fajardo Jr. Spinning out of the We Are Yesterday event, Dark Tomorrow picks up the shattered timeline pieces as multiple heroes from throughout time are trapped in the present thanks to Gorilla Grodd messing with the timeline and the Omega energy left over from Darkseid. Thanks to this, things in the time stream are not good as time-traveling hero Wave Rider escaped through time, pursued by an Omega demon, which chases him throughout time and space and finally catches up to him, slashing him across the back and seemingly killing him. Wave Rider isn't the only one being targeted, as other time travelers are as well, like Hank Hall, better known as Extant, who is targeted in ancient Egypt. In 1941, the JSA battle their greatest villains as the masked hero known only as Legend blasts through time, escaping the Wraiths before he too is claimed by them. Although he knows he is different, as unlike Wave Rider or Extant or Epoch, he didn't actually get to see a vision of his death by these Wraiths, and that has made him very interested in what happens next. So Guggenheim and Waid really just kind of drop us right into the thick of it here with these characters who aren't actually part of the We Are Yesterday story until now. This is like the byproduct of that story happening. I kind of like how it sells the chaos going on at the DCU right now. You know, the timeline is shattered thanks to the Darkseid's energy and his impending turn. So all these heroes just don't really know what's going on, and that's kind of where we are as well. We don't really know what's happening with all of these different heroes. We also get a new POV character in Legend, a masked hero who no doubt will be someone familiar since they make a point to say that he's not going to reveal his name and who they are, and there's going to be some big spoilers. They're going to take that helmet off, the mask is going to crack or something, and we're going to see who it is underneath it. In the present, Gold Beetle arrives at the Watchtower, fangirling a little as she meets with Wonder Woman. Gold Beetle tells Diana that she needs the League's help, revealing that something is incredibly wrong with her as she begins glitching in and out of reality. Gold Beetle showing up is a really nice surprise. She's a character I very much liked back during her introduction in Jeremy Adams' Flash run, and it's great that Guggenheim and Waid remembered her here too, remembered that she is a time traveler tied to Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, and is giving her quite an important part in the story, or at least a part in the story. Gold Beetle is taken to the Atom and Mr. Terrific, who run tests on her phasing body to determine what is wrong, coming to the conclusion what's happening with the time stream and her are no mere coincidence. They are related, however they cannot fix both of them right now. While the tests continue, Airwave, now back in a physical body thanks to Mr. Terrific, reunites with Amazing Man, his old friend from when he was time displaced in the 1940s. I've always liked Amazing Man. He's a neat kind of character and barely gets used when it comes to stories, especially set in the 1940s. Everyone seems to kind of gloss over him and the All-Star Squadron. So him getting to be part of this team and getting to be, I guess you could call him the Superman of the team, because he's, you know, very strong guy. He's got some different powers, like he can absorb matter and all that sort of stuff, but he's more or less kind of like the Superman role of this team. Amazing Man can tell something is eating away at his old friend, and Airwave doesn't really know what it is, making Amazing Man impart some great little wisdom to the kid, telling him to stop fixating on the past and look to the future, since you'll be pulled down by the past and your past mistakes, and you just kind of got to throw yourself away from them. Their heart-to-heart is rudely interrupted by an explosion which destroys much of the kitchen they're in, as the heroes find it is thanks to Legend, who has crashed right into the Justice League Watchtower, warning the heroes that they are all dying. Later in the infirmary, we get more teasers to Legend's identity as he refuses to reveal who he is to the other heroes, since it could cause a time paradox they really don't need, kind of implying that they actually might know who he is, and that might be why the time paradox might be caused. If I had to guess, you know, with the limited info we have now, and you know how much Waid has been putting kind of an emphasis on this character and constantly bringing them back, but I think it might be a future version of Airwave. Kind of makes sense. We've set up a story here where, you know, Amazing Man was telling him that he's got to get past his mistakes, and maybe at some point he uses time travel to try and help people and fix his mistakes and become a real hero in his own eyes, and that comes Legend. In reality, it could really be literally anyone. We don't really have a lot of info, but it feels like we're headed in the Airwave redemption arc direction. Supergirl can tell Legend is being truthful thanks to his heartbeat, and so Legend tells him about what happened to Wave Rider, Extant, and the other time travelers and how they are being killed off, and he came to the League for help, especially since half the League now could technically be counted as time travelers thanks to the recent events of We Are Yesterday. After consulting with Red Tornado, show, Mr. Terrific comes up with a roster who should be able to help out Legend. A roster Airwave thinks is a little bit ragtag, and he's not wrong, as the team consists of Batman, Beyond, Jonah Hex, Huntress, and Marilyn Moonlight. This is a pretty awesome and unique team with a nice spread of characters who people recognize, as well as some new ones like Marilyn Moonlight, who I love is actually getting involved in this storyline, since it doesn't look like Joshua Williamson really wants to use his creation all that much, so might as well let Mark Waid and Mark Guggenheim give it a shot. Legend briefs the heroes on the Omega Demons, and right from the go, Jonah isn't interested in helping the others, only interested in saving his own skin, since in his words, he's no hero. Airwave explains that thanks to the heroes being displaced in time, they are all infected with Omega energy, and the demons will come for them regardless of if they help the team or not. But if Jonah and the others agree to help them, they will actually have a real shot of getting home and being free from the Omega energy. Jonah still isn't really interested in playing hero, but Marilyn is more than happy to help, wondering how they are going to travel through time. Legend has the answer, calling in the Wave Rider, not the hero, the ship, the time ship, the one used in Legends of Tomorrow, and it's all but confirmed. It is literally the same ship used in the TV show Legends of Tomorrow, the show that Mark Guggenheim was the showrunner of. This is also the first time this time ship has actually appeared in comics, in mainline comics that aren't tied into the Legends of Tomorrow TV show. So that's pretty fucking cool. I like that idea that we're working in some of these TV stuff into the main story of what's happening all across this universe. It also makes me question, maybe Legend is someone related to the Legends of Tomorrow, since he's a brand new character, probably created by Mark Guggenheim. So is he a character from the show? Is it like the Ray Palmer Atom, or is it, you know, Heatwave? Is it like, it could be someone from the show, because they actually mention, they obviously know what this time ship is. They mention having run-ins with Jonah Hex before, which Jonah Hex was on Legends of Tomorrow quite frequently. So maybe instead of Airwave, maybe this person is someone from the Legends of Tomorrow TV show, which would be just insane. As the ship arrives, Gold Beetle also joins the team, telling them they got the pass from Mr. Terrific. She isn't the only one as well, as Plastic Man has tagged along, hitching a ride by posing as a backpack on Gold Beetle's back. It's pretty funny that it's also implied that Mr. Terrific sent Plastic Man to them because he couldn't stand the idea of two Plastic Men being on the station at the same time. So as well as there's probably like a paradox thing, so he's like, oh, get them as far away from each other as you possibly can. The team get on with the mission and track down their first target, Kronos, and help him out with the Omega Demons. So for some reason, Huntress gets a new costume in this part of the book. They may actually make reference to it, that she actually gets a new suit, which is really strange because the rest of the team don't, and I'm not entirely sure why, especially because she was in, you know, the classic Huntress costume that everyone knows, you know, with the, you know, the purple cape and the purple ears and everything. So everyone knows that costume, so I'm not really sure why they changed it. They, if anything, they made it look a bit more CW-y. Like, I could see the costume she wears now appearing in CW. You know, we had Huntress in the CW and it looked pretty awful, but I could see this being like a Legends of Tomorrow-esque Huntress, and I don't know why it was done with just her. No one else got the different costumes. It's just strange, just very strange. The heroes fight off the demons, and Amazing Man tries out his matter absorption powers on the demons. However, he finds they don't work, as it backfires and ends up injuring him. Jonah Hex saves him with some fancy gunslinging, turning the tide and saving Kronos, before knocking the villain out on behalf of the Atom. So throughout the book, Legend has actually been narrating the book and kind of giving us a bit of his thoughts of what this team is, and here we kind of get his assessment of the team and how he finds that while different, they are very effective at their jobs. He hopes that this is enough to stop the Omega Demons, as during the fight with the demons at Stonehenge, Legend teleports Airwave into liminal space, the dimension that exists between the ticks of a clock. And again, another thing that I think was brought up in the Adams Flash era run, very, very briefly. It's not really been played with a lot, but it's a cool idea that this guy can just kind of stop time and kind of disappear between the ticks of a clock. It's really interesting. Legend tells the hero that they need him to be the divining rod for the demons and sense their frequencies, since if he can do that, they can actually trace back where they come from. He gives Airwave a bit of a pep talk there as well, telling him that he knows all about the failure and redemption and what it means to be a hero and be redeemed in the eyes of others. And again, this kind of keeps fueling my theory that maybe it is Airwave, maybe it's not a Legend of Tomorrow from the show, it is actually just Airwave from the future. It again makes more sense here with him, knowing all about Airwave's power and wanting him to be on the team specifically and everything like that. It just makes too much sense. Legend pushes Airwave to try and focus his power, and Airwave does just that, using his newfound abilities to trace back the demons to their origin point. The heroes are led to the Vanishing Point, the base of operations for the Linear Men, protectors of the time stream, and since time isn't protected at the moment, the team guess that they are no longer there. Again, this is something that, it was happening in Legends of Tomorrow quite frequently. We visited the Vanishing Point a few times, especially in the first season of Legends of Tomorrow and then in the Crisis of Infinite Earths crossover event. So it's pretty cool to see Guggenheim, who, did most of this work on these things, kind of bring it all back to that. Upon arriving at the Vanishing Point, they find a golden tower, very reminiscent of the towers Anti-Monitor used during the Crisis of Infinite Earths, and even Huntress notes how the demons now look like shadows, like shadow demons used during that event as well. Again, this all feels like stuff Guggenheim wanted to do on Legends of Tomorrow, but being, the budget was low, it was TV, he didn't have the resources to do it, but here in the comic, you can just kind of go ham and do it because all of these elements work within the confines of the story that Mark Waid was setting up. Along with the Golden Tower, we also get a new member of Darkseid's Absolute Legion, as we met Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, and Cosmic Boy over in Superman. Here we get to meet Shadow Lass, and she makes her first ever appearance here as the absolute version of the character. There's even hints that Legend is very familiar with her and targets her directly. As the team fight the demons and try to come up with a way to destroy the tower, Shadow Lass proclaims Darkseid is coming and all of them will suffer greatly at his hand. Thanks to Gold Beetle's tinkering with the tower, she is able to rewire the time circuitry, causing it to blow up, and just in time too, since Legend loses his fight with Shadow Lass, prompting Airwave to race up and save him. The rest of the team battle Shadow Lass very briefly before she retreats into her shadowy portals, which is where Legend actually realizes that this is the Shadow Lass he knew, but she's been changed somehow. Again, hinting at something that we saw in the Superman ongoing, where all these characters that from the Legion are their actual characters in the universe. They've just been modified by Darkseid in some way. Legend wants to warn the rest of the Justice League, so the heroes board the Wave Rider and head back through time. And on the way back, Gold Beetle has a really interesting line that we hadn't actually seen anything from her before this, where she thinks she is forgetting someone thanks to her glitches, but she isn't able to remember who she is forgetting. And that feels like it was made to be like a point you take note of, because who is it someone on the team that like we haven't seen because they're technically not there thanks to time travel shenanigans? Is she remembering someone from her past? Is she remembering someone like Jai West or something like that, someone she knows is going to be important, but now because of the glitching she's beginning to forget about it? It feels like a really weird out of place spotline that's kind of just there just to tease what's coming next, and we'll see if that actually ends up mattering at all. Gold Beetle's pondering, however, is put on hold when the Wave Rider crashes right into a solid wall within the time stream. Legend knows that is a temporal firewall and he can't get back through it, since it looks like someone or something doesn't want them getting back into the 21st century. Now, this is something that Mark Waid actually introduced us to during We Are Yesterday, when the heroes were trapped outside of time, when they were gated from coming back to present day by Grodd. He put up all these barriers to stop them, so Batman and Superman ended up flying into one of them. So it's pretty cool we're bringing those back. I thought they were a neat idea to sort of like place sort of like a containment field around what's happening in the story, and it leads to a neat cliffhanger, because this is a special. This isn't getting an issue 2, it's going straight on into what's happening in Justice League Unlimited, and then some of the stuff we see over in the Superman ongoing, as well as DCKO coming up. So I expect these characters will appear in DCKO at some point. Maybe they'll be like the team that come in the third act to help save everyone or something, and I'm sure we're going to get a big reveal of who Legend actually is as well. Justice League Dark Tomorrow Special Issue 1 was a pretty fun issue containing a bunch of characters that we didn't really get a lot of during We Are Yesterday, or didn't get a lot of at all, as well as some new characters, new interesting characters like Legend, who might be related to some of the characters we've seen like Airwave, or could be completely new characters we've never seen before. But I like how Mark Waid and Mark Guggenheim combine all of this stuff we've seen throughout We Are Yesterday, especially essentially Airwave story, which keeps continuing to grow and grow, and went from something that I thought was just going to be contained to that event, and we don't really get anything more, to something actually integral to what's going to be happening in DC in the next couple of years in terms of DC KO and what's coming out after that. I also really like that this has like lots of ties to the Legends of Tomorrow TV show. I really enjoyed that TV series, and I love that a lot of the stuff from that show is like being made canon in here, and just very nonchalant about it as well. Like, oh, here's the Wave Rider from the show. They're now using it in canon comics now. That's really cool. And you could only do that with Mark Guggenheim co-writing it with Mark Waid, because they're both giant nerds when it comes to DC lore and DC history and time travel stuff. So I'm looking forward to what is coming for the DC universe. It looks like a hell of a lot of fun. A giant tournament arc is coming, which is really cool. Superman continues to be great with the Absolute Legion over in that book. Lots of really fun stuff coming. So if you haven't been checking it out, check it out. It's really damn cool. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.